So it's come to this, yet another YouTube video about the Hasbro Pulse Sears Cantina playset reissue 2025. But this one coming from me, so that's what makes it different. Let's talk about it on Spector Creative. Hey guys, welcome back to Spector Creative. I'm Scott Toy Guru Neitlich, your host, and yes, it's come to that. We're doing yet another discussion review of the 2025 Hasbro Pulse Cantina recreation Sears. The thing that was the cardboard cantina that came with four figures that replicated the original one that was the Sears set in the late 70s or 79. That was the notorious home of Blue Snaggletooth. This is the Gentle Giant one. I actually never had Blue Snaggletooth. I had Red Snaggletooth. Yeah, I guess you had to have that set to have this one. So all right, we'll get back to him later. But yeah, that's what the set was known for because and why they did him. That's a video for another time. Snaggletooth is actually a whole fascinating. I've done several videos about him. I'll link him at the end. It's one character that never appeared in the movie but got a Kenner toy, and it's crazy. All right, so what I want to talk about is I have been waiting years and years for Hasbro to do vintage Kenner decoed 3 3/4 figures. I've always been like, why can't you take a 3 3/4 figure and then just deco it to look like the old Kenner figures? And they did this with some 6-inch figures. They did with Greedo and they did Obi-Wan. And I was like, yes, that. But use the 3 3/4. And they did that with a Boba Fett, and they charged an extra $10 for it. But of course, I bought it. And now this Cantina set is following that up. So we haven't following that single Boba Fett release. We're getting figures deliberately painted or decoed to be the Kenner versions. Now, clearly, this was a non-tooled set, and always that's how it was approved through the system. What that means is it's going to be a set that doesn't have any tooling put against it. It just uses existing parts. It's a redeco only. That's how all toys are. They're either at straight reissue, a redeco, partial tool, full tool, more or less. And the more tooling, the more expensive, and you have to offset the highly expensive tooled items with necessary reissues and repaints. And when you have a logical reason to do a repaint, like doing it as the Kenner colors, hey, more's the better. So yeah, this was I'm envisioning the basically the internal pitch meeting, and the brand manager getting up and saying, yeah, and this is great because not only is this fan demanded, but it'll help offset the cost of all of the highly tooled figures that we do. So yay. All right. So with that noted, I can excuse all of the fact that they had to use these existing molds. They weren't going to tool, a Ponda Baba or Walrus Man that had the. Let me grab my Walrus Man here. Might as well grab Greedo too while we're at it. They weren't going to tool, this kind of little outfit. They were going to repaint the, the most. Whoops, losing figures here. They were going to repaint the latest version. So people who there's definitely a level of people like, well, to make the Kenner figure you'd have to tool it. That's not what I'm looking, because to me that's actually almost kind of weird, because it's like, we've got the retro line that's reissuing these, and would we want this as a highly articulated figure? I guess that's a whole other level. But what I'm talking about is what they did successfully and to some degree not successfully, using the existing modern sculpts and the limitations they naturally are going to have. And to me, that's the starting point, is accepting those limitations. So let's talk through them first. Let's start with the kind of the easy. Greedo. Boom. I mean, oh, whoops, he just lost a foot. I'll find it in a minute. All right. So, here's the old one. Mine lost a tentacle or hedicle, whatever those are. But yeah, minus the fact that it has a belt and a holster, which the Greedo in the movie did not have, but that's a whole other story. yeah, you can see how it is decoed to look like the Kenner release. Perfect, perfect. A plus on that. Now, moving on to, well, okay, Snaggletooth is kind of a weird one because, again, what they're doing is you're redecoing this Zutton figure to be the blue Snaggletooth that came with the Sears set, which was technically taller. So if this is supposed to be Snaggletooth, the short character, doing a direct repaint in blue, it gets the job done. I get it. They weren't able to tool up. I mean, and people are even like, well, why couldn't they kit bash? Use the head and use the feet, the legs, and a different vest from like an Imperial officer or something. And well, yes, you could probably kit bash to create this. Again, this was clearly went through the system as a non-tooled, no development. It was just going to be deco only. There was no room for any, part swapping and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so I accept the limitations that this is the most modern version and this is an homage deco. Again, there's, it's not quite this, but again, happy with it. All right. Now, and then Hammerhead, Moment of Dawn, again, love it. To me, this is just perfect, and I know some fans have an issue with the fact that he is wearing sleeves and pants when the vintage figure or retro original didn't. But again, limitation of the existing sculpt. They're not going to tool a unique Hammerhead for this. It's a deco-only SKU, and you have to sort of accept that going in. And I think they knocked it out of the park, applying the Kenner deco to the most modern Hasbro sculpt. I mean, even the eyes. I mean, damn, the eyes. That's just fantastic. I don't have vintage or original Hammerhead. I had the other three. I had Greedo, Snaggletooth, and Walrus Man. But so this is like my first blue Hammerhead. So very happy with this. All right, now I think you see where this is going here. All right, so Ponda Baba. So again, we've got the latest sculpt, the latest available tool, and we're going to deco it to look like this. Seems like a no-brainer. We get this. All right. So I guess we don't need him at the moment. Here's my issue. I get it. You're limited to this tool. But why aren't the arms blue? Why did you just paint like a stripe down it? I mean, even the the racing jacket part, it's from a 1970s British racing jacket is what this is. It's the same one that Luke wears in on the Yavin, but in yellow. But the bottom part of the sleeve doesn't have the ribbing, so they basically painted a blue stripe just down the one side of the sleeve, but under is orange. No orange on the arms. I mean, I get, and even I would have done the shirt in orange. I get it. Just like you had to kind of fudge it with Moment of Dawn. Yeah, like if you go, in other words, commit. If you're going to go Kenner deco, go all the way. You have to go full retard, if you will. You can't on this one just go halfway, because you wind up with this really weird Walrus Man that has orange on, his jacket, and it just doesn't look right. All they had to do was simply paint this blue, and I would have been like 1,000. I could have lived with the shirt. I could have lived with the shirt not being painted, but I just don't understand why they couldn't paint that blue. It just, that, I hate saying it, but it's like it ruins the figure. It's like the little things. Like you knew what you were doing. You guys, you clearly. Fix his foot. It's driving me crazy. There we go. I hate that the foot falls out. You knew what you were doing. I mean, this is perfect. This is an homage. I get it. But with this, you've got you've got it right here. Blue legs, blue sleeves. All right, I had to vent. I'm sorry. I just did. Because I love this figure so much. Look at how loved that figure is. You can see this is my Walrus Man from when I was a kid. I mean, look, look at that. I mean, there's just so much toy love. So yeah, I was really looking forward to this and having a Hasbro version of my Kenner toy, and missing that one little detail under the arm. Man, I hate when stuff like that happens. All right, I know we all have that, right? That one detail that just, it's like the toy would be perfect if. Maybe that'll be the title of this video. Thank you for sticking around. Thanks for watching and listening and being part of this. I always appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next video.